He's up to something. We should have, like, I just can't, it just doesn't, it blows my mind that if all the way back in April, because that was that before or after Madarame's Palace? It was before Kanashiro's, at least. It blows my mind that early in their tenor, that they would realize Akechi could understand Morgana and not immediately either A, make a big deal about it, or B, try to confront him or research him more over it. Or something. Instead, they're just like, oh, we're just gonna, like, ignore that entire huge, insane revelation until it becomes relevant to the overarching plot in about 5 in-game months. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. It would have been better if they literally just had it where when Akechi, like, makes his deal to work with them, they're cautious, and then they're like, hey, Futaba, bug his phone, right? Futaba takes his phone, bugs it, and then they hear him talking to Shido, and then they're like, oh, dang. We gotta do something about this. Instead, they're like, haha, pancakes. It's funny, right, guys? No, it's not funny. It's actually really stupid and bad writing, but whatever. He's up to something.
Probably. It was your social studies trip. We met him in the hallway of that TV station.
And we never spoke of it again.
There's no way that this is the first time he's heard my voice. This whole deal feels sketchy.
Even this is stupid. You're like, oh, it's kind of sus and all. If you knew that he knew about the Metaverse all the way back then, you're immediate, the absolute second, every time that the Phantom Thief group talked about, like, oh man, they mentioned that black mask, who could this culprit be? The very first, like, your only potential suspects that you could name would be Akechi, if you knew that he could hear you all the way back then. But no, we just never mention it, because the devs are stupid. Like, their writing is really poor in this section. Yeah, he's pretty sussy baka.
Yeah. It's impossible not to think that of him. Okay. Let's get everyone on the same page right away.
It's a flashback. We can never know if they did investigate him or not. They didn't. What do you mean we can never know? We played the rest of the game. They never act super sus of Akechi or look into him, or they never mention anything of it or whatnot. The only time they apparently talk about it is when the game blots it out during these points. Anything else that you say is just like your own headcanon that you're making, like, oh, well, maybe off screen in the game they were like looking into Akechi or whatnot for a little bit or whatever. You made that up. You made that up. There's no way for you to prove that or otherwise. Like, you're just making up what you want to try and cover for the developer's bad writing.
There's something else we want you to look into. One more person has been on our mind. If it's possible, I want to eavesdrop on their phone conversation. That'll be tough.
The game is told from the perspective of Sai's interrogation, which is skewed by drugs. Technically, you're right. However, consider all of the moments we see throughout the game that Joker has no way of knowing about. If the game was strictly, we only show you things that Joker speaks of during the investigation, I'm sure Joker was telling Sai all about the time he went and played shogi with Hifumi, when he interacted with the Yakuza helping out Awai, or all the times where we see scenes of Makoto and Sai together with Joker nowhere around, or the scenes where it's Sai talking to Akechi and the SIU director, or the times where the SIU director is just standing in his room by himself talking into his thing. That time where we saw the principal get killed when we were in Hawaii, etc. Like, chat, I love this game. This game is like a 9.5 out of 10. This game is amazing. I sing its praises all the time. I literally almost only talk good about this game other than during the cat arc and during the pancake garbage. You don't need to bend over backwards to defend this part. It's okay for a great game to just have a bit of some bad points to it. That's just how games are. You can do it, Futaba.
I agree. I'd have to plant a bug directly on the phone. So it's impossible even for you. I didn't say it was impossible.
It would work out the game would still play out the same way and would work out so much smoother if they were just insanely sus of Akechi, which would be insanely fair, especially when Akechi is just so natural at using Robin Hood and fighting. They can be like, it's pretty sus, and then be like, hey, Futaba, can you, like, we need to look into Akechi. Could you, like, hack into his phone or anything so that we can get some info? I know it's a breach of privacy, but you breach privacy all the time anyway, and this is a really big deal for us. And Futaba be like, yeah, I just need to get a hold of his phone. And then they do the same bit they did where Futaba's like, ah, Akechi, you have a brand new phone, and takes it from him to look at it and plants the bug, and then they, like, get his records and all, and Akechi, like, calls Shido and says, like, yes, Shido, everything is going according to Keikaku. I've infiltrated the Phantom Thieves, and I'm planning on betraying them. We'll do the little murder plan to kill the leader and whatnot when he's in the interrogation room. And then, bam! They know, and they can make it happen easily.
Okay, I've got a plan.
That's perfect.
Keep it a secret.
Don't worry, I'll tell you the details later.
Oh, thank goodness that we had this flashback just for you guys to still keep it a secret. The worst part about all of this is that, well, the worst part about it is the whole pancake thing, because it's an unnecessary way to catch Akechi, and it just makes the game's writing seem poor, because it's like, haha, wasn't that cool that all the way back then they figured it out, but then we just hit it throughout the entire game for no real reason other than to, trick you into it or whatever. But the worst part about all of this is that Atlus goes so far, quotation marks, to try and hide the fact at this big moment that Akechi's the one who's bad, so it seems like a big shock when he walks up at the end to kill Joker. But Akechi being the traitor is just the most obvious conclusion. What would have really been shocking if, like, Makoto or Yusuke or Haru had been the traitor. Because they all had, well, not Yusuke so much, but, like, Haru, with her father being killed, has reason to, like, distrust the Phantom Thieves. And Makoto, wanting to protect Sai, has reasons to be like, oh, maybe I should betray them to protect my sister in the end or whatever. But instead, it's just like, oh, yeah, it's Akechi, the guy who most recently joined you, who's been against you from the start, conceptually. He's the traitor. Big shocker, am I right? I wonder if it'll be okay.
This is gonna be fun. I can't wait.
But at the end of the day, what someone in chat said, the whole pancake thing is 1000% unnecessary. The entire plot can still play out. They can still catch Akechi and have this whole big plan of theirs work without the pancake nonsense.
I see. So we're going to use this place.
How did you guys get in here?
It'll be a gamble.
I think it's gonna work. You can't tell a thing.
Oh, they're in the Metaverse version of it right now. Right, okay. That's how they got in there.
It seems you finally remember. This game is not over yet.
Igor, I've been at it for 90 hours. What do you mean it's not over yet? JRPG reactions whenever you beat the final boss and then another one shows up.
There are still things that must be done.
My memories are becoming clearer. That's right. This is what really happened to me at that moment. I have another question about this moment as well that we're going to talk about here in a second. Yes, very smug. So, like, hear me out. They're going to explain this more in depth here in a minute, so we'll get to see the game explain it more in depth. I'm just going to say the gist, because most of us watching this have seen the game or play it. And if you haven't seen it before, don't worry, the game is going to go in depth about it in a second, so I'm not really... I guess I'm going to tell you a spoiler right here if you haven't seen the game before, but the game is going to explain it in the next, like, 2 videos on YouTube. But, the reason why Akechi killing Akira doesn't work is because they get Sai to put Akechi into the metaverse, so he kills a cognitive version of Akira while in the metaverse, thinking he's in the real world. thus leading to the real Akira being safe because Akechi was in the metaverse and the real Akira was in the real world when the murder happened. Akechi then leaves. How does Akechi not realize he's in the metaverse upon leaving? I already find it doubtful that Akechi doesn't realize Sai put him in the metaverse, that he wouldn't realize, like, wait a minute, why can I feel my personas so clearly? What if I summon Robin Hood right now? Like, I would think that when you're in the metaverse and out of the metaverse, you would be able to notice a difference just from having a persona in general, if you're used to it. And Akechi is clearly used to it. He's the culprit, so he's been at this for like 2 years, because he's the one that killed Wakaba way back when. But even, let's assume that Akechi can't tell the difference because of how similar it is when he gets into the metaverse and gets out. They needed the phone to put him in the metaverse, using the metaverse app in some way. Sai didn't get him back out of the metaverse after that, because he walked in, killed Akira, then walked out. When Akechi leaves that building, he's gonna step out and see, like, there are no humans around. There's no people present. Right over there is Sai's casino. I must be in the metaverse right now, right? At some point, Akechi has to use the app, which he also has, to leave the metaverse. When he walks outside and sees that he's in the metaverse and needs to use the app to leave the metaverse, would he not stop for a second and be like, wait a minute, when did I get into the metaverse? When was I put into the metaverse? Thus, his first reaction should then be, I should go back and make sure that that guy's dead, right? Because if I was in the metaverse, like, something ain't adding up here. Something doesn't make any sense, am I right? Also, Akechi immediately makes a phone call to Shido after killing Akira. Can you, I don't think the game ever covers it, but can you make a phone call from the metaverse to the real world? Can you do that? Would Akechi not try to make a call and it immediately be like, hey, you're not in service? And then he'd be like, I'm not in service. Why? Oh, because I'm in the metaverse? What am I doing in the metaverse? How did that happen? It just, like, it makes no sense whatsoever, and they, you know, the writer's response to that, I assume, is just, hey, don't bring it up. If you just don't bring it up, most players won't think about that part, so it'll be fine. Save up. I heard they arrested one of the Phantom Thieves. No way. I didn't expect him to commit suicide. He's a murderer. He deserved to die. We can finally breathe easy now. He killed himself, huh? Guess we'll never know his motivation. I'm exhausted. It feels like my consciousness is about to fade away.
Hey, are you alright?
And no, I think I've been drugged again. Send help.
Don't fall asleep until we reach our destination. Are you listening?
Could this be the effect of the drug wearing off? How long are these drugs gonna be wearing off, brother? In the beginning of the game, when Joker and Skull are first in the metaverse, Skull tries to use his phone and there was no service in the castle. So in the game, we confirm that phones don't work when you're in the metaverse. The crux of what I'm saying just comes down to how did Akechi get out of the metaverse after Sai put him in to do the Joker killing trick? There had to be some catalyst to him leaving the metaverse, right? You don't just like, oh, I happen to step on the magical metaverse instantly in spot, and then it just goes away without him noticing or anything. It just makes no sense. At some point, they would either need Sai to take him out of the metaverse again, which she clearly does not do, or they would need for Akechi to get himself out of the metaverse, at which point he would probably be like, I was in the metaverse when in the past 10 to 15 minutes I killed Joker. That seems a little sus. I might want to look into that. The memories I thought were gone are starting to come back.
Are you listening?
I am.
Anyway, we need to talk about how to get out of this situation.
It's very convoluted and has a lot of minor plot holes, but don't worry, it'll work.
Futaba's monitoring of Akechi's phone has confirmed it.
He did indeed have an ulterior motive.
See, they even say here that monitoring Akechi's phone tells them all that Akechi is trying to do. The pancake nonsense is 1000% unnecessary and makes so little narrative sense. Almost zero narrative sense.
It's on a completely different level than just that.
Not only was he trying to frame us, but he was the true culprit behind the mental shutdowns. His offer to assist us was simply a ploy to frame the Phantom Thieves and kill him. If we go into Sis's palace as he suggests, we'll likely be met by a large ambush of police forces.
To think he would be this far gone. I know now what it means to feel a chill down my spine. Furthermore, he wishes to bring a police squad from reality into the palace.
If the 8 of us can enter at once, it's not inconceivable to think a larger group is possible. He may even be able to bring in vehicles or other special pieces of equipment.
Dude, imagine Akechi shows up in the metaverse with a tank, dude. That'd be sick.
So, this really was just a setup to shift the blame onto us.
He made us go after Okumura. Then once we triggered the change of heart, he killed him. And he told us he had seen the true culprit, but it was him the entire time.
That might not have been a lie. He might have just seen a mirror when he walked by.
The whole time he was working with Makoto's sister, he was really just some homicidal maniac. Come on, we gotta take that bastard Akechi down. Isn't that recording we got enough proof to do it?
No, Akechi is merely a tool. His orders come from elsewhere. The grand mastermind behind this all.
To be fair, Akechi is also a mastermind. They're both masterminds trying to mastermind one another, but we'll never get to see how that would have played out because the Phantom Thieves, of course, we're the Phantom Thieves, we get to win in the end, so we don't know which one of them would have been top dog in the long run.
An unimaginable fiend capable of arranging the murder of a suspect inside of a police station.
Unless we find out who that is, we will continue being targeted even if we defeat Akechi.
But what means do we have of learning his identity?
We'll have to make Akechi say it. Though once we do, that mastermind will likely eliminate us.
I think that will be the case eventually, regardless of whether or not we learn his identity. The only reason it hasn't happened yet is because we're an easy target to blame for his crimes. He realizes that's no longer possible and abandons that plan. He may opt to kill us immediately.
Damn it. So we don't got a choice but to go with that bastard's suggestion.
But if we go into the palace like we're told, he'll get arrested and then Akechi will kill him.
Palace. The palace. Actually, there's something I'd like to say regarding...
Aha! We can use the palace to our advantage!
What's this all of a sudden?
There's a way. A way to get past Akechi and get the mastermind to lay off of us, all while learning his identity.
Really?
Yes, it will be very convenient.
You gotta be kidding me.
If he wants to kill the guy, why not let him?
All right, I'm in.
That is, inside of a palace.
Yes, we could have him kill the cognitive version, all the while believing he killed the real one.
Yeah, that's it!
It seems that's our only option. Listen close, everyone. I have a plan for how we can carry this operation out.
Ever since the death of their teenage leader, the Phantom Thieves have fallen silent. However, the police intend on continuing this investigation until the case is fully solved.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had to finish a few things at work. Where are they?
Waiting upstairs. Go tell them to come on down. I'm gonna fetch him.